All right, good morning. Well, we're finally back to our normal lessons. We're starting topic 4, which is multiplying two-digit numbers. The first lesson, 4-1, is multiply multiples of 10. Multiply multiples of 10. Okay, multiples are basically like counting by that number. So if it says multiples of 10, that would be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Okay, so it's 10 times 1, 10 times 2, 10 times 3, 10 times 4. Those are the multiples of 10. Okay, so we're going to be multiplying two multiples of 10 together. Okay. If you open your practice book up to page 130, your math book, that's where I'm going to start. So there's two strategies, two different ways that you can multiply multiples of 10 together. I'm going to call them methods. So method 1, this is the method that I prefer, is this. So okay, let's say you have two multiples of 10, so 30 and 80, that you're going to multiply together. First you look at the first two numbers and you multiply them together. So that's the tens place, 3 times 8. Okay, that gives me 24. And then you add on the zeros. Okay, I'm pretty sure we did this before in chapter 3. Maybe just with 1 0, but that's how you do it. So you multiply the tens place, okay, or if you had 300 times 800, you would just multiply those first two numbers together, and then you'd add up all the zeros. This has 4 zeros. Okay, this is as far as we're going today, though. We're just going to do up to the tens place. Okay, so that is method 1. And I think I could just put method 2 under here. Method 2. Okay, you are using the commutative property and the associative property. So you're grouping the numbers differently, okay, in this problem. So we're going to do the same number, 30 times 80. Okay, but in this problem, you are going to split apart the 30 and the 80 into a multiplication problem. So we're going to say 30 is 3 times 10, and 80 is 8 times 10. Okay, and then you are going to group them differently. Okay, you're going to multiply the 3 and the 8, and then the 10 and the 10. Okay, so you'd have 3 times 8 and 3 times 10, or sorry, 10 times 10. Okay, so this works because you can move your parentheses around. When it's all multiplication, it doesn't matter what order you multiply in. So I can move the numbers around and the parentheses around and multiply in any order that I want. Okay, and so then you would multiply the numbers the new way you arrange them. Okay, the 3 times 8. It's basically the same thing you're doing here. You wind up with 3 times 8. 3 times 8. Okay, and then if you took the 3 times the 8 here, you're left with, because this is 3 times 10, okay, so you're multiplying the 3, you're left with a 10, multiplying the 8, left with a 10. That's how it is here. Here's like the shortcut way. This way you're actually breaking it apart so you can see what you're doing. So anyways, I went up with 24 and 100. 24 and 100. And that's why I can just add these 2 zeros onto the end, because you're multiplying ultimately by 100. So 24 times 100 is 24 and 2 zeros. Okay, so you wind up with the same answer. This way is like broken apart more, it's a little longer. This is a shortcut way. That's why I like it, because it's quick. So there's method 1 and method 2. So I'm going to erase this. Okay, and let's go. I'm just going to be using the method 1. Okay, so I'm going to look at page 131 and I'm going to do a couple example problems. I'm going to go to number 9 and do 20 times 70. I'm going to multiply the first 2 numbers, that's 14, and add my zeros. Okay, so 1,400. Now, if I wanted to do it the other way, it would be 2 times 10 for 20, okay, times 7 times 10 for 70. Then I would do what I did here and multiply the 2 and the 7, and then multiply the 10 and the 10. That's adding the 2 zeros on. And I get 14 times 100, which is 1,400. Okay, because you have 14 times 1 and the 2 zeros. Okay, or you have 14 100s, and if you counted up 14 100, you get to 1,400. So you get the same answer either way. This is just the shortcut way. Okay. So let's look at I think those are pretty self-explanatory. Let's look at number 17. And that's 10 times blank equals 100. So in this problem, you're having to fill in that missing number. So you're looking at what you got here and how many zeros, okay? So if I have 1 times something with a 0, to get a 1, what would I have to multiply it by? 1 times 1 equals 1, okay? So 1 times 1 equals 1, and then I know it has to be a 10 because I have to have 2 zeros in my final answer. Okay, so you're filling in the blanks. Let's look at another one. Number 18. Blank times 20 equals 1,600. Okay, so I know I have 2 zeros. So there's 1 0 here and 1 0 here because I need to have 2 zeros at the end. Then I need to look at the number 16 and think 2 times what is 16? So I think about my multiplication facts. 2 times 8 is 16. So that means that 80 times 20 is 1,600 because 8 times 2 is 16 and I have 2 zeros. Okay, so these problems you're having to think backwards, okay? And use your multiplication fact skills. Let's do, well, no, I'm not gonna do another one. Yeah, I'll do another one. Let's do number 20. 20 times blank equals 1,000. Okay, well this one is a little tricky because I have 3 zeros. So let's start with knowing that I'm gonna have a 0 here, so that takes care of the 2 zeros at the end, 0 and 0. And then 2 times, I can't do 2 times anything to get 1, okay, but I can do 2 times 5 to get 10, and that takes care of my other 0, okay, so 2 times 5 is 10, there's the 1 0 here, and then here's my other zeros, okay, so 20 times 50 is 1,000. That one took a little bit more thought because I had another 0 in there that I had to figure out. Okay, so I'm going to erase this, and then we're going to look at the back, page 132. Those are the word problems. Okay, let's see. I'm going to have you do number 23 on your own. Let's see, explain how you can find the total number of players if there are 40 teams. There are 30 players. I think you could do 24 also. The body uses 2 gallons of water. While brushing his teeth, he uses 10 gallons of water. How many more cups of water does Bobby use to brush his teeth? 30 minutes a day. Okay, well, let's do 23 and 24 together, and then okay, so we're going to do 23 and 24 together. So 23, I'll read to you. The product of 2 factors is, so the product of 2 factors, that means you're multiplying 2 numbers together. So blank times blank, and the product is the answer, so the answer or the product is 4,200. Okay, one of the factors is 60, so this is like one of the problems we did on the page before, where we had to find the missing factor. Okay, so I'm going to look at the 2 zeros, and now I need to have another 0. Okay, so I'll have a 0 and a 0 for these. Then I'm going to look at 42. 6 times blank is 42. So think about my multiplication facts. You can look on your multiplication chart if you need to. 6 times 7 is 42. So 60 times 70, 6 times 7 is 42, and 2 zeros is 4,200. Okay, so that's number 23. And then we're going to do number 24. Okay, there are 30 players on each high school football team. So 30 players. On each team. Explain how you can find the total number of players if there's 40 teams. So there's 40 teams. Okay, so that's saying I've got 30 players on one team. Okay, and if there's 40 teams, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 40 teams, and 30 players on each, I could either add up those 40 teams, 30 plus 30, 40 times, or I could just do 30 times 40, okay, and use the method that we did today to figure that out a lot quicker. So 3 times 4 is 12, and my 2 zeros, so 1,200 players on 40 teams. That's 24. Okay. So now I'm going to assign you the problems that I want you to do. Okay, I'm going to have you do pages 131 and 132. Okay, and you are going to do problems 11, 12, 13. What did I I do? I did 9 and 10, so 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And we did 17, I did 20, I did 18, so you're gonna need 19, 21, and 22. And 25, 26, okay, 19, 21, 22, 25, 26, 28, 29, 25, 26, 28, and 29. Okay, and I was reading number 27, and I would like to do that with, I think it would be a hard one for you to kind of figure out on your own, but I want to do it with you because it's a cool problem. So I'm going to grab a chair so I can sit here. Okay. All right, so it says, what is one example of a product? So that's an answer. So I'm going to have a blank times blank equals blank. Okay, of a product, that's this part, the product, and this is a factor, and this is a factor. Okay, so if you multiply two factors together, you get a product. So a product that will have the same number of zeros, so let's just make it 2, as the same number of zeros in the factors and in the product. So if I have 2 zeros there, I'd have to have 2 zeros over here. So it's just wanting you to think about how the zeros that you get here relate to the zeros that you get in the product. So if I had 2 zeros over here and 2 zeros over here, I would just have to make sure that the two numbers I pick here don't make a number here that makes a 0. Okay, so I can't do like 2 times 5 because that would be 10, and that would put another 0 over here in the product. So I just need to make sure I pick two numbers for the beginning of these numbers that don't make a multiple of 10. So I could do 2 times 3 and get 6. Okay, so I still have 2 zeros in the factors and 2 zeros in the product. And then the second part of that question says, what's an example of a product that will not have the same numbers of zeros in the factors as they do in the product? And we kind of already just talked about that. A number with a multiple of 10. So I'm not going to do 2 times 5 because I already said that. So can you guys think of another 2 numbers that you could multiply that end in a 0 or that make a multiple of 10? I think 5 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. Okay, that's a multiple of 10. So that would put a 20 here, and then that means then that I have 3 zeros in my product and only 2 zeros in my factors. So that's just what this problem's wanting you to think about, is that depending on these two numbers here, that sometimes your answer is going to have more zeros than what you have in the factors. Okay, most of the time it'll just be 2 zeros here and 2 zeros here. But if you do have a number combination that when you multiply makes a multiple of 10, you're going to wind up with another 0 in your product. So that was number 27. Okay, but these are the problems that you're going to do today. So there's room, you can just do them in your practice book, and then you'll take a picture of those pages and you'll turn it into your Google Classroom. And that's it. So that's today's lesson, 4-1, and then tomorrow we'll be doing 4-2. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.